and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mobafire Esport Challenger League. We're here into game number 4, EXERTUS up against Complexity Academy. I'm the foreguard jester. With me tonight, studio, that sexy Soviet waffle. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty damn good. I mean, that last game was elegant, is how I would describe it. And then we've had the slugfest from the past couple games. Now I just want to see what comes next. And EXERTUS, Complexity Academy, both of them have quite a few names on it. I mean, I've seen D-Light and Billy Boss around. Actually, the players have shown us pictures of Billy Boss, looking just outright hot at the beach. And of course, over on Complexity Academy, you have players like IKennyU, Only Jaximus, Doom Trovo. These guys have been around forever. Most of them only in the solo queue. You know, don't really see them in the competitive series. But it's cool to see them expand. Cool to see them change their playstyle to adapt to this. And rest in peace, Nunu. It was good to see you for a few seconds before he got banned.
Or a lack thereof. Yeah, as I said, you know, we don't really see him that often, and when he finally does sneak through those bans, he gets countered pretty hard. Yeah, I saw that photo of D-Light, and he's just like, play it. It's like, if the admins don't tell me I can play it, I'm not playing it. So, yeah, he's a good-looking dude, and let's just leave it at that.
I should link it in chat. Why not?
All you, sir. All you.
All right. Let's put that sucker in chat. This is a picture EXERTUS wants us to show off. And I mean, all right, yeah, it's a pretty cool picture. I like the picture.
All good. All good. All right, so Nunu up there on the chop block, responded to there by Elise and Draven. So, you know, again, you know, we had two of them in the last game. Elise, Draven didn't exactly work out as well as it could have, but Draven farming boss, especially with that blue level 1. So we're not going to deal with them. Evelyn and Jayce, again, Jayce can definitely become a monster. If he gets farmed enough or he wins his lane, he gets that tier fully stacked by the 20-minute mark, all of a sudden you're facing down a Mirror Mana, and depending on what else he got, in this case it was a Last Whisper as well as that the armor reduction. Is just like, what can you do against that kind of burst, because you don't have the health pools to just deal with it. So yeah, really solid bans. Thresh, finally, we're finally going to see somebody else in the bot lane.
All right, so who's that going to leave for the bot lane supports? Lulu is available. I'd expect her to be picked up just as that reliable support, and this is going to be a fairly different game from last time. No Elise, no Evelyn. The E's this time being hammered out pretty hard. Just there we go. There's that jungler I was thinking of. It's going to be Zac. Zac and at least Evelyn, I'd say, are two of the more contested junglers right now. Zac, though, is still one of the great initiators. He's got great ganks. He's got great middle late game initiation with a Let's Bounce. And it's going to be hard to deal with. It's always hard to deal with the Jayce because he's kind of like a fiddlesticks. But instead of having damage, he just has more range with his initiation.
Yeah, the Let's Bounce. Somebody was asking in chat a few games ago, just like, why was Zac banned? I mean, but you're just like, well, you know, he has a lot of CC, he has a heck of a range with that slingshot, plus a passive that is basically a Guardian Angel. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of valid reasons to kick him out. I
call it a Guardian Angel that's funnier, because sometimes it just doesn't help things. Like, sometimes you'll... Like, actually, when Nunu's in the game, you'll just see him consume one, smite the other. You have killed his GA. But it is definitely something that's hard to deal with, and it's cool to see him banned out very often. It's cool to see him in play because he will really dictate the pace of a game. Zac has control essentially, as long as they put some effort to try and control the enemy team's wards.
Yeah, and well, as you said, consume and smite for the Nunu. Yeah, not going to be here. He keeps getting banned out, but that's okay. Janna, Jarvan, again, 4th game in a row, Jarvan and a Caitlyn, even before we get out those ADCs. As you said, a safe pick, definitely worked out for them in last round. Curious to see if Zyra will be our support or not. We have seen a support Zyra today already, and it does bring a lot of control to the bot lane, and her range can really be very useful, especially when you're up against what's looking like a support Janna, unless we're going to go Zekan style.
Zekan style always cool. Actually, the velocity, you know, Janna mid go for the crazy all-in pushing is fun to see, but I don't know if Jungle Ezreal is going to make his appearance today. Zyra, though, so Zyra, what she provides in lane is actually kind of limited early on. Her level 1 is pretty bad. She has a 0.75 second root. Eventually the plants, though, they'll start to develop. One of those roots will deal tremendous damage because the root doesn't hurt that much, but the plant auto attacks are they're killer. I love them. So she'll have that for the lane, and I'm liking this for EXERTUS. They have Zac. They have aggressive initiation. It's not really defensive. You can protect carry with it, but you're probably not going to. They have Zyra, who a little bit of both. You follow that up with a Let's Bounce, that's a lot of damage coming out. It's a lot of protection. So I really like that they have this aggressive offensive lineup with her initiation. They're going for a Caitlyn, someone who can kind of take care of herself, or at least stay protected in the back. And oh my god, Look at that initiation. Malphite, Zac,
Yep.
and Zyra to follow that up. So Zac lands an ultimate, Malphite lands an ultimate, Zyra's ultimate will also land as a result. Then you have Kayle. Actually, Righteous Fury's AoE damage could be huge. It's gonna be fun to see this.
Now the fun thing is that if Jarvan, if he goes kind of derpy and is like, I'm helping, and he traps a few of his teammates in with it, yeah, it's a 6-on-4, which would be fun times. The Righteous Fury is from Kazaroon coming out, big AoE. I'm just curious who's going to get the invulnerability. Is it going to be Zac? Is it going to be Malphite? Because they're kind of tanky. I'm curious to see if it's going to be the Zyra, the Kayle itself, or the Caitlyn for the priority.
Both these teams have just ridiculous AoE damage. So a Varus ultimate with Draven ultimate is just chain CC, factor in the Kennen. That right there is a lot of ultimate or AoE damage. Ryze himself too can provide it. It's actually, they're very similar in how they play out. Ryze and Kayle have some AoE, but it's limited. It's fairly short range in the end. They have the good initiation. They don't have that much damage necessarily on either side. It's gonna be a match of slugfest. And you mentioned the Kayle ult. I would expect it to actually land on Kayle specifically, or Malphite. So Zac does good damage, but Malphite can shut down the damage of Varus. He can also kind of shut down Jarvan and a little bit of Kennen's damage. Zac will have, I'd say, a little bit more damage overall, possibly. Depends on how the jungle farm ganks go, but he's going to have less utility. And then Kayle, she could also just use it on herself because Caitlyn will have more range, and both these teams have so much AoE that it's probably going to be hitting the backline. This is going to be a very, very odd comp, and I'd actually expect Complexity Academy to play very defensively. They're not going to be the ones starting fights off, because if, let's say, they get a great Jarvan ultimate, and then Kennen goes in too, and they're just in the pit doing their thing. Except that gives a chance for Malphite to ult. You can't stop Malphite ult. That gives a chance for Zyra can probably get her ult off. Kayle can get her ult off defensively. Zac can initiate from God knows where, and Caitlyn should be in the back relatively safe. So I'd expect a lot of counter initiate. This is going to be the game of not only who initiates well, but who counter initiates well.
So Spectator Delay has now kicked in. I took off the Summoner Blockers. Going to take a quick look around some of these runes and masters. I was really hoping to see a 30-0-0 Kayle, just like we saw a 30-0-0 Kennen a little bit earlier. But no, it's just 21-0-9 is mostly going to be AP. It's not quite as balls to the wall as I was looking for, but that's alright. Zyra is very likely then going to be that support, and yeah, gold per 10, the armor, magic penetration, nothing really out of the ordinary there. 9-0-21, all good things. So yeah, again, I'm looking at Janna, and again, I'm seeing Summoner heal. This is the second game tonight of our 4 that we're actually having a support with heal.
Well, think about it. What does Janna have to deal with? And actually, Janna Ultimate, I kind of forgot about it, but that's going to be possibly huge. It's weird how it can work out, but essentially, if she can get a good ultimate off, not necessarily for the knockback, because, alright, you can knock back Malphite, but if he lands his Seismic Shard on anybody, he'll get back in the fight relatively quickly. If he should be also getting the Round Slam immediately on whoever he's hitting, just for the damage and the reduced attack speed. So that's not really affected. Same thing with Zac. Like, alright, you knock him out, but he'll have the bounce, he'll have the movement, he'll get back in pretty quickly. But the heal, there's not that much damage on EXERTUS. They have Zac, not high. They have Malphite, kind of high. Then everything else is, relatively low in the AoE department in terms of damage. And if they can really punish that, if they can really just get a quick Janna ultimate and a quick heal off, and if Janna goes for something like Morellonomicon, she will have decent AP. That's going to be how they stop those team fights.
I looked at Janna's runes, and there's no gold per 10 anywhere. There's ability power to 18. There's ability power. There's magic penetration.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's going to start stacking up by that late game. So if she does go a bit more of an aggressive support rather than a defensive support, it will be another consistent source of damage. I also just noticed it's only Jaximus in there. I used to watch that guy stream all the time. R.I.P. the Phantom Lord Goat Zoo. But either way, game number 4, EXERTUS up against Complexity Academy, guys. We're going to get that rolling here. Game number 4, we got one more after this. Denial up against Reality Check, and we're not going anywhere, so you shouldn't either. We're going to see after our sponsors into the game, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're into the loading. EXERTUS up against Complexity Academy. Forco Adjuster here with the studio, and you are watching the MCS, the Mobafire Challenger Esport League. We're here many weeks, many awesome teams now signed up to go through this. $10,000 to the victor at the end of it all. And here in week 1, day 1, we've seen some exciting games. We're into game number 4, one more to go. But guys, if you are not following this channel or any of the social media, then what is going on? Hit that follow button. Find us out there, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, because that is going to get you a chance to win some of our $1,000 of Razor gear to give away, as well as $1,000 of our Fatality, because we're sponsored by both of them. iBuyPower in there as well. Can't forget them, the premier sponsor of a lot of the computer stuff going on in and around the league scene at this point. So get out there, go hit those buttons, and we're into game studio.
Now, the important question I have to ask is, was only Jaximus caught elo boosting? I want to say he was, because
day maybe, yeah.
He did not have a border for his past season's results, which you only see that on a few people like Robert Exley, who kind of had the same thing going for them. So it's kind of fun to see that. However, both teams on the level 1, it's kind of limited. Like, all right, they can land a Caitlyn trap, they can land some slows from Kayle, but no one has reliable hard CC. Except maybe, and this is a pretty big maybe, either a Janna Tornado, or Janna Slow, or Ryze's Room Prison. But those are fairly short duration, as Greed just looking good right next to iKennyU in a very precarious position if there was more initiate, but those flashes won't do much, and he'll spot him right away.
Kenny. Don't try going 1-on-5 at level 1, bro. Yeah, but obviously we know where both teams are at this point. We do got the blue ward here. Did see out this invade going through. They're just going to be able to get off this ward here by the Wraiths. Again, just really tracking out the beginning pass of those junglers. And I'm not entirely too sure if we're going to see this engage. So far, 4 games. And if we do finally get that engage, this will be the first of them. Everything so far has just been pretty just, you keep to your side, we'll keep to ours. It's like adolescent boys and girls at a dance. Just you stay on one side, I'll stay on the other, and we'll just stare at each other for a good time.
Uh-oh. It's happening.
No, it's totally happening. Billy Boss, he's going to get in there. He's going to get extremely low as well. Malphite, you flashed in. Why? He had nothing to get out of it. So much for that analogy. He crossed the line and the chaperones kicked him out. First blood going to go off to Complexity Academy. And that's flash down now for Billy Boss, as well as the Ignite the Flash from ZZ Legendary, the Ignite the Flash from Jaximus, the heal from Xanos. So, I don't know, 1 death for 5 summoner spells? Is that worth it, studio?
I'll take it, because that heal probably not going to be a huge thing in lane. That was a bit silly. I think I know what they were going for. If they have the attack speed reduced over on the side of Complexity Academy, you know what, they won't be able to win a level 1 fight. Level 1 fights are very dependent on auto attacks, because no one has many spells. The problem is that, alright, so no one has many auto attacks they can dish out. They still deal a lot of auto attack damage anyways with that first hit, and that just blew up Billy Boss. And unfortunately, the heal from Xanos was just huge there too. It is on cooldown now, but those early level 1 engages no one really ever expects the heal. Like it's not a common summoner spell. It has been picked up more and more lately, but it's something you forget about. It's like, what heal? When's the last time you saw heal consistently? When's the last time you saw heal in a level 1 engagement? Let's go with pretend it's Sunday. When's the last time you saw heal?
Couldn't tell you, sir. Just couldn't tell you. But that, I mean, heal has had a history of being, really good, and then whatever, there's better spells, and then they buff it, and like, yeah, and now they slides down. It's kind of like at the end of that slide at this point. So if it's making some kind of comeback, all of the better for it. But Xanos, that's going to be down for now. It's just, why take heal if you could just take exhaust or just take barrier? The league has evolved.
I love it for the AoE fights. It's going to be big there. Now just waiting for, I believe it's Greed, to head right back onto this game. Currently restarting his PC.
I turned off chat, so thanks.
And Billy Boss just talking. He wants to share pictures of him climbing Fuji.
Thank God
apparently,
I turned off chat.
Like, I'm not sure if EXERTUS is here to play. Like, I mean, that's not a great start for them. They are a competitive team, but they're also here to share pictures of Billy Boss, one of their players.
Oh well.
Anyhow, going back to the game. So what's that level 1? That's that level 1 fight gonna mean? Kennen now has boots and cloth armor, like going into the lane, which depending on what they want to do, it looks like it's going to be a 2v1 top lane, or actually possibly a 2v2 as Malphite is heading towards that bot lane. But it means that if it had been a 2v1, Kennen could survive the auto attack harass much more efficiently. And now that's going to be just a 1v1. Well, Malphite doesn't actually do that well versus Kennen because he's limited by mana. He's no longer has his flash available. He's going to be in a dangerous position because he can't do anything. You have to get in range. And seismic shards will do some damage, but not enough. So it's going to be kind of tricky for Billy Boss to really do anything down there.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, blessedly, we do have Billy Boss with a ward, so he's going to be able to ward out that river. But yeah, without that flash, he doesn't have any inherent escape mechanisms. Kennen could probably just bully him around. If we have Jarvan come down with that Flag and Drag, get off that slow, stack the 3 charges of your Storm with, Kennen, it could be a bad time for Billy Boss in that bottom lane, especially without any escape mechanisms at this point. But the one ward should hopefully keep him alive. We're going to have to see what kind of jungle support he's going to get out of Greed. Yeah, on our Zac, but still, the lane swap into the lane swap. I'm not sure that either team has inklings at this point that we are going to be swapping out for those 2v1s.
Now, this would be neat to see if they could force Billy Boss to use teleport before he hits level 6. You bring teleport on Malphite for one of 2 reasons. 1, you don't expect to win the lane, and versus Kennen, you don't expect to win the lane. And 2, once you hit level 6, I mean, you win 2v2s like crazy, well 3v2s like crazy in the AD carry support lane. You can win a 1v1 mid by making a 2v1 and saying, hey, here's some great burst damage in CC. So if they can actually force a teleport out of Billy Boss or make it so that he's going to suffer so much going back and forth to base and losing CS and experience that it's going to be like he wanted to use a teleport, then that's going to be huge. So a lot of this game is going to right now come down to only Jack Smith and the pressure he applies. Same time, Greed, you mentioned all the flashes going down. Every lane is now a gank target, except for the AD carry support lane for Greed. Every lane can now be easily ganked because no one has an escape. And every flash is up except for Billy Bosses because, well, he had to land a really important seismic or ground slam.
And there we go, finally getting back into the game. So good times abound. Varus Janna is going to be in this top with Doom Trovo. Are they going to go for a blue? I think they might actually come down to say hi. And yes, they will. Kazaroon just turns immediately the other way. Greed does use out his flash, his smite. He will be able to grab it. So it's not going to be a successful invade in terms of a steal, but they also did just force out that smite from Greed, and he's not going to have that for his red.
Ooh, more lane swaps going on than I thought. So right now it's Kayle in the 1v2 lane up top. She can handle it relatively decently, has the heal. Jarvan, he went for the invade. They didn't get anything out of it. Like you mentioned, they got the smite, but he didn't get experience. He's only level 1. He's Janna to back him up. He is falling farther behind, and he's going to be leaving the jungle at half HP. His smite's still available to him, but just it's a 240 red buff kill. That's just so far behind.
Yeah, now we still got the blue over there as well, and again, like, if the red is already late, the blue is then going to be late, but we have these lane swaps coming in. This could be interesting with Doom Trovo coming with Varus. So we had the Ryze mid, he's like, oh, I'm not dealing with this, goodbye, goes back up to the top. So we do have, pretty much the normal pairings, just in different lanes at this point, but it's very worrisome for this bot because we haven't put out that ward yet for Billy Boss.
And Billy Boss luckily a little bit safe from the initiation from Doom Trovo. Doom Trovo is not really able to do anything right now. Mid lane's going to be all about the poke coming out from Icon EU. Just any auto attack he can get in. Same thing for Swinging Salt. They can pressure each other at all. It's going to be very important to controlling the lane, but it might just end up being a passive farm fest. Doom Trovo is looking towards that mid lane. Going to be spotted out by a ward there. Not accomplishing a whole lot, but hey, I mean, you can't really predict things like that. As Legendary, taking a lot of damage top lane. Don't know if they wanted him to 1v1 Kayle up there, especially because Kayle did get some experience.
Oh, but Doom Trovo, he's going to just bait out this fight. He kind of ran away, and they kind of took the bait, and then at the same time, he just comes back with the Flag and Drag. That's going to go straight into the Tornado. Greed with the slingshot forces out that flash. Not the best of slingshots any that I've ever seen, but Doom Trovo just got to be feeling good about that one. Now, he does have the red and blue. Even if they'd killed Zac, I'm not too sure it would have been like a kill, but they would have just popped the cellular division. But now that Greed has to just get on out of town, this is going to be some tower damage.
I mean, level 3 Zac passive does not have any HP. I think it's just 1 or 2 auto attacks to take it out, and Zyra was lower self, so probably would have been able to pick him up there. And yeah, now it's a bit more pressure, some more lane control, 18 CS to 20 CS in the mid lane, so they are actually behind. But they force Zac to heal, they waste time. And I think that's something that they wanted to do, especially with the failed invasion earlier.
Oh man, some big damage coming down on top of Swinging Soul. Does have that net ready to go in case things do get dicey, as well as the full summoner complement. But again, like, support Janna. So much disengage, you get the global aura of 2% move speed, but that disengage basically just stopped Greed right in his tracks, and as you saw, it nearly netted them an entire kill. But top lane, Trobo, he's going to come in. Kazarun get caught, trying to put up that ward too little too late, does force out the flash as well, but so much damage coming down between Legendary and Trobo, and the last Q is going to be a kill here as we get Complexity Academy a 2-0 lead.
Unfortunately for Kazarun, just a little bit too late with that ward. That's what he was going in that bush for, and had that ward been down, would have survived. But that's a very important kill because Legendary was not having a good time in lane. Finally be able to catch up in CS. Actually, Greed barely evading Xanos right there, looking for the Varus in the mid lane. He does actually get the slingshot onto him. Can they take him down? Down 300 HP. He does have a Janna shield. Chasing him back though. Swinging Salt just a bit too low to really do anything. Unfortunately, just not enough damage.
And not enough damage, ran out of mana on top of the things as well. And again, if things do get dicey, no other escape mechanisms other than that flash. But she's going to get real low, has to head on back to town. That was really good timing though from Greed. I checked the vision. Xanos basically just went side by side to Greed, but because of the cliff, there was absolutely no vision. Otherwise, he would have had that early warning. It was a good preemptive flash from Varus as well. It did keep him alive out of all that. But still 2-0, up a K in a bit here for Complexity Academy, and they're still putting the hurt into this mid lane as they really want to try to make something happen. But check out bottom. We got Doom Trobo just going to come in for that lane gank, and you were talking a little bit about this situation.
Oh, Billy Boss is level 6, though. It doesn't have Ignite, so he probably can't kill Jaximus, but if they go for a fight, just the amount of creeps in the bot lane is going to make that a hard engagement to win. They need to clear out the creep wave because those ranged caster minions will just completely shut down Jaximus and Doom Trobo if they go for a fight. Billy Boss, though, doesn't have a lot of mana. He's enjoying his pressure. Looks like they're going for the fight, though. Jaximus has it level 6. The stun does come down. Taking Billy Boss to about half HP. Still has flash, still has ultimate. Ult away at the last second.
Well done.
He lives. But that's 2 minutes now where he can't gank. And that's something at least. They control him for a little bit. Billy Boss is now that wild factor. Or EXERTUS. Every other lane is doing well. Well, actually, Legendary is about to be doing a little bit worse in a second. They take some auto attack damage, but trades quite well, actually. So every lane is doing well because they have those kills. They had to control mid lane. So Billy Boss, if they can keep his ult on cooldown, is just not going to be able to swing the tide for his team.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the flash burnt out early, now we have the ult burnt out, so it's all about these timing mechanisms. Oh, Kazaru not trading out, has to get off that invulnerability. He said, okay, this was a bad idea. Now he's out of mana after casting all of that, and ZZ Legendary can just sit there. Still has a little bit of a cooldown on the ult, as well as the Ignite, so we're probably not going to see anything huge come out of it, but Doom Trobo also defeated in his gank, thanks to the Zyra plants as well as her poke. So, yeah, I'd get out of dodge there, Swinging Salt.
Salt just taking a little bit too long to get out of there. Does have to use a flash to survive. That's I mean, Delight rooted Jarvan far away from that fight. There was plenty of time to react there, and Swinging Salt just a little bit too slow, going for a bit too much CS because, well, I mean, the catch money and fame is nice, but you gotta put that aside every now and then. It's unfortunate though, but hey, they survive. They aren't giving up any more kills. You don't want to fall behind against a team like this, especially when they have good disengage. Actually Zach going for the fight.
Yeah, Zach from the top, the slingshot's godly tier initiation. There goes the heal again coming up from Janna, but it's not going to be enough. Swinging Soul gets that kill. Flash in with the Cataclysm. Doom Trobo is going to get that revenge, and now Delight and Greed have to contend with this. Oh, what a Monsoon. That Xanos with the Monsoon. Good game mid lane. Heals and Monsoons and disengages for days.
Just rebounding the Zach basketballs, is going for that dunk, and just unfortunately not a lot coming up for either side. They both pick up kills in the AD carry. Who got the kill? It was actually Caitlyn. That's a huge kill right there. Varus only got the assist, but that 19 CS disadvantage for Caitlyn just dramatically shifted. They should be a little bit behind, but still overall much closer than they used to be. So nice kills all around. Flash is used by both sides. Another one really has control of their summoners. So Greed just got his back up. I want to see Greed head towards possibly top lane after healing, or just make something happen for Kazarun, because Kazarun should be doing well, or should have been. He does have the CS lead, but every now and then Legendary just applies a lot of pressure and forces Kazarun out of the lane.
Yeah, 48 to 39. It's not a solid lead at this point, but hey, it is a lead. It's a very similar situation bottom. Jacksmith up 67 to 60, well, and a little bit of fluctuation going on. Now, we don't have this flash coming out from Jarvan. We do, however, have the Ignite from Legendary, but he just used the ult to clear the wave. Not entirely too sure Kazarin can actually fight this out, and if he doesn't, there will be a little bit of damage here on top of the tower, but we also got Greed coming in from the lane.
Billy Boss is walking up to Jacksmith at this point, and Jacksmith's not having actually a fight going on the top lane. Kill Element does keep him alive with the Jarvan initiation. There is a very, very dangerous Doom Trouble. Can he survive? He's being bounced all around. It's a little bit more damage. Should take him out. Kazarin, though, out of mana. It's up to Greed, but the flag and standard combination will keep Jarvan alive as Doom Trobin's easy legendary just walking out of there with no HP whatsoever. Very solid fight. Like, these teams are very evenly matched in their, I'd say, team fights. When they have 2 people and they have 3 people, it's been perfectly even. The ganks have gone a little bit more in favor of Complexity Academy, but it's nothing huge. It's still a very close game, only 700 gold difference.
Yeah, 10 minutes in, it's still less than the K between them, so, you know, very minuscule, very still tip-worthy. I mean, it could go either way at this point. Now, something, I have been keeping an eye on Billy Boss, and, you know, he lost out that flash early, then he lost out the ult, and then he used the teleport to get back to lane. So the combination of the 3, I'm just waiting to see these teleport unstoppable force ganks coming in and wowing everyone, but so far it's just been, just keep to the lane, keep getting that farm. He does have himself the chalice, not exactly a huge amount of damage to his name, but he does have that magic resist as well as the mana regen, and that's basically his only tool so far up against Jacksmith.
It's a pretty solid tool overall. He's only behind by 3 CS. It's actually, I'd say something Mac Noon popularized with a Malphite versus Rumble, and it does apply to Kennen as well. But you get the chalice, and you just spam Seismic Shard non-stop. You do not ever give them a chance to pressure you in lane. You have to keep constantly spamming that Seismic Shard, and it works out. He will eventually run out of mana even with a chalice, but he does so much damage per shard that if Kennen doesn't respond with his own pressure, and he has to pretty much go all in to do that, Malphite will just win these fights. As we do have a pause coming out, looks like Greed's having some other problems. They said green, but I think they mean Greed, and also Zach is green, so that's what I'm going for with that.
Alright, I am going to hide the minimap this round because we are 11 minutes into the game. Back at the 1 minute mark, didn't really mind so much, but if this does go longer than 3 minutes, then yeah, we're going to put this up. So you do get to see the Mobafire shield, sorry about that. We've just got to wait for this pause. It's unfortunate. I mean, the first 2 games we had, you know, pretty smooth sailing, and then game number 3 had a little bit of an extended, now a few issues here. Hopefully we can sort ourselves out. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. Not that I'm complaining. Get to watch League of Legends challengers go at it all night. I could definitely do some worse things with my night.
Could be. And of course, it's not so much that we expect the players to cheat. It's one of those things where, like, let's say you're playing in a tournament and you have a chance to break. What's something you want to do? People just love looking at chat when they're playing a tournament. And you know what? When they load up the chat, the first thing they're going to see is the map, regardless of what they want to do. Looks like we do have the game starting up soon, though, as D-Light, relaying that green Greed, will be joining us back in the game.
Yep.
And unpause, it's going through.
Beautiful. All right. Again, 3-1, still about 1,000 gold difference. We haven't really seen our ADC support kind of roam out from our mid yet. They've been pretty solid in there. And believe it or not, you know, even with all these swaps, still no tower deaths.
The tower pressure just hasn't been there for either side. They're going for the kills. I love going for the kills, but because there's never been that solidly one fight recently, there's never been the fight where it's like, let's go for a tower now, as Kazaroon takes a lot of damage top lane. Jarvan initiation, he will land the ultimate, but the shield will be enough as Kazaroon is taking a lot of damage. Ignite comes on out, but guess what? That last little orb from Ryze will secure the kill, and the turret will not take him down. And
there's nobody here to clean that up. Greed is kind of heading into that bottom lane, looking for possibly a kick. Billy Boss, however, he's going to go to the ward in the top lane, looking for the unstoppable. Does land it. ZZ Legendary finally does drop. Billy Boss executing the combo of my dreams. And again, like, Greed was heading bottom, so Greed is able to take care of the lane. We get Malphite into the top. He's going to be able to do some counter pushing. And overall, good game right there from Blue.
Like you called that a gank. Let me show you our gank.
Yeah.
As Grease takes a lot of damage in response from Jacksmith, trying to pick up some of that CF with his Elastic Slingshot combo. Now, unfortunately, so Billy Boss picks up a kill. That is awesome. They got something out of that. No tower went down. It's a good defensive option. It's a bad offensive option. Like, all right, they got the teleport used, but didn't get anything out of it. And that's something unfortunate with teleport. It's a long cooldown. 270 seconds, so 4.5 minutes per use. And if you're not getting, let's say, objectives out of it, it's not that it's wasted, it's that you could be doing more with it. And that's the unfortunate thing. I think that was a really good teleport. He needed to do it. It's just not great that he had to do it. But you know what? They're still in this. They're still only behind by 1,100 gold. It's going to come down to who gets first dragon, who gets first towers. As just the objectives are not being looked at right now.
Well, we haven't really had a lot of freedom to kind of go wandering at these points. I mean, again, no tower deaths, 12 minutes in. I mean, we've seen games where towers are down at 4 minutes, at 8 minutes, at, even 12 minutes. Here, we're past the 12-minute mark, 0 towers. And if you don't have that freedom to kind of roam around or help out, all you have is really a teleport to go lane to lane. Otherwise, you're just kind of chained to that lane. You got to make sure that your tower doesn't go down. You got to take the enemies. I mean, there's still a lot to do, and this is just feeling like a bit more of an old school, like early season 2 meta game where you don't really see anything for a while. Do you remember back in the day with Heart of Gold stacking?
Oh yeah.
It's just 45 minutes of farm, one team fight, game's over.
Heart of Gold, Philosopher's Stone, go ahead, wait 30 minutes, congratulations, your complete item build, and we'll do something maybe then. And it is kind of like that. Like there is aggression on both sides, but I think the problem is no one's going for like a fully committed, all-out crazy style of gank. Like you're not seeing a 5v3 mid, we're not seeing a 4v3 mid. And that's what's holding back the aggressive pushes, because they're going for 3v3s, they're going for 2v2s, or the 2v1 that eventually became a 1v1 up top lane with a Billy Boss picking up that kill. But like no one's going for the all-out plays, and that's why not a lot's happening. It's just laning victories, and they're evenly matched right now, with a slightly going to Complexity Academy. They do have the first blood, of course, and some more kills, which gives them their advantage, but essentially they're evenly matched when they try and do stuff, because no one's taking any risks. And that safe passive play is nice, but it doesn't give you a chance to pull ahead unless you're just outright better than your opponents.
Well, there's something to be said for safe games. It is, day 1, week 1. This is for all the marbles, basically. I mean, we're at the end of this day, we're going to have already some teams ahead. So if you want to play safe just to get ahead, nothing wrong with it. Fortunately for us, we just got to deal with it. But, hey, it's life. League can do this every now and then. And, we started off at 4-minute towers in game number 1. So we might be a little bit, persuasive to those action-packed, right off the bat games.
Well, the way I see it, it's day 1, like you said. So this is kind of like going to prison where, day 1, the first thing you have to do is shank someone. It's kind of like
wow,
that. Like you gotta show up, and you gotta shank the team you're up against to show that you're dominant. If you do not shank someone, then everyone's gonna be like, they're the passive team. Play aggressive.
There was a movie based upon that concept. It had, great, I can't remember his name. South Park makes fun of him all the time. He's a carrot, he's a stapler, he's a horse. He's a comedian, but basically he's a lawyer. He gets convicted, goes to jail, and he hires a kung fu master to teach him how to defend himself so that he can literally just do that. He just beat up the biggest guy when he gets there, and that way he'll have a decent time in prison. So thanks for reminding me of that terrible movie.
No problem, and let us never find out the name of the movie, because that sounds
thank
horrible.
God I can't remember the name of it, but Rob Schneider. Yeah, that's it. Rob Schneider's a carrot. That's South Park always stuck with me.
Oh, that's it. I was thinking like a carrot top, but no, they wouldn't call him a carrot.
Rob Schneider's a stapler. Oh, South Park. It's like Simpsons now. I don't watch it. I prefer to remember it in its glory days.
It's one of those things where it's just like, oh yeah, that show was awesome a few seasons ago, and then you realize a few seasons ago it's actually like 50 seasons and you still haven't seen those episodes. Like I used to do that for Simpsons. Like I liked it a few years ago. It's like 13 years now at this point, which is terrifying.
When I was in high school, it was cool. Yeah. Fortunately, the generation of today will never know that level of writing and comedy. But c'est la vie. 4-2 right now. Complexity Academy, as you said, has a little bit of that advantage. 1,000 gold or so. Still anybody's game. We have been seeing a lot of Seeker arm guards. Every time we see a Kennen, we see a Seekers in about the 12 to 13 minute mark. Now, I don't think it's going to be a 15-minute Zonias like we had in game number 1. Curse just extremely strong in that game. But, what happened to Hex Tech openings? What happened to Death Cap openings?
Well, if you get a death cap, you die. That's a problem there. You press your buttons, they press their buttons. Your buttons do some damage over time. Their buttons kill you. If you go for Revolver, it doesn't do enough. That's the issue with Revolver. Like, it's not a lot of spell vamp. I think it's only 12% now. So that's not a huge number.
Used to be
kind of
20.
Oh yeah, it used to be awesome. It used to be 20 and it stacked, so I just get like 4 on Vladimir and win the game. But for Kennen, it's some spell vamp, so it's some free health every now and then, but not a lot. And it's expensive. And what do you build it into? Like you can't get a lot out of it. It doesn't help you a lot in team fights because if you go in with a revolver, you're gonna get ignited. You're not gonna do a lot of healing with your ultimate. It's good late game. It's a weird reversal of what it used to be. You can pick up a Will of the Ancients late game. You can pick up a revolver to build into that. But you pick it up early game, you're just gonna get trounced over because it doesn't do enough early and it doesn't provide any utility whatsoever besides that spell vamp.
I just think I'm a little bit reminiscent, you know. I talked about the Heart of Gold stacking back in the day, double AP comms, double Vodas, you know. The glory days, back when nobody knew anything.
I remember when I was like the only Rumble player in North America in Platinum, back when there was no Diamond. And it was just like I would play Rumble and build revolvers and no one knew what the hell he did.
Yep.
It was good times.
They love me. Alright, we're back into the game, 12 minutes and counting. Again, we've talked about all this stuff before, but the double Spirit Stones, both junglers actually just picked up their Ancient Golems, so a little bit more tankiness, cooldown reduction coming out. Now Jarvan has the boots as well as the cloth armor. We'll just have to see if that goes into a Ninja Tabby or if we're going to use that cloth armor into an Aegis.
Lots of options available. I'd love an Aegis just because any Aegis pick is always worth it in terms of value, even for the armor, even for the magic resist. Magic resist is going to be a bigger deal with Runic Bulwark, but of course that's more optional. Every team should have the Aegis though, just because it's such a good value. Looks like Dragon being looked at. This is the first objective in the entire game that's been approached besides the buffs, and well, looks like it's just going to go straight to Complexity Academy.
Well, we had enough time to debate what we wanted to do, so yeah, if we had the confidence to go grab it, then yeah, it will be that. No contestation there, but at the same time, Kazurun, he kind of did leave that top, and he did get blue from his jungler, so Greed saying, I don't need blue anymore, we're going to use this, hopefully you can get that advantage going. Billy Boss might be visited by Doom Trobo in this bot lane, and we do have that flash available, we don't have the Unstoppable Force, so I have to see if he gets caught.
Well, Billy Boss did have a welcome mat set up for the Jarvan with a ward placement, so not a lot that could be done there. I think they saw that ward leave his inventory, so they're not surprised that nothing could be done. It really isn't a huge gank. You can't shut down a Malphite, and if the Malphite isn't snowballing, which at the moment he doesn't have a lot to his name, then it's not the biggest deal if you don't shut him down.
Now I'm curious. He's not going like pure tanky Malphite. He's a bit more of a damage hybrid. Looking at his item build, I kind of expect to see a Sunfire come out because when you get that Unstoppable Force, you get the Sunfire, you're gonna be in the thick of things. But no, he's gonna go for possible Leandries after the Haunting, and he still has the Chalice Bit and the Tier 1 boots. So I'm curious to see what his build will end up being if it's not gonna be that tanky version.
I expect him to tank up eventually, but this is to make up for the lack of, I'd say, burst AoEs. Oh, Jaximus is no longer in the game. He gets bounced, he gets knocked up, just double dunkage as, I'd say, Malphite and Zek. Would you call him Dunk Brothers? I'll call him Dunk Brothers. Just go ahead, trashing that Kennen. At about half HP, that's enough burst right there to take him out. Very surprising, very well played.
Yeah, both. Just looked at the timers. Both of them essentially at the same time just decided to destroy him, and it worked. It was great. 3 to 4. A little bit of tower damage. The creep wave is going to come back. It's going to be a lot of tower damage, and Greed is not leaving. So we might be seeing our first tower of the game, ladies and gentlemen. And absolutely no question, 90 hit points and counting. So a little bit of global gold to counter out the global dragon gold that we were able to give from Complexity Academy. So that's again just going to put us within that 1,000 gold mark.
That's a very well executed gank just because of how quickly they stack the CC. Like, the CC did not chain together very well, but they wanted to burst them down. They didn't want an extended fight. And it's cool to see that was so well executed. As Kazurun now, with that blue buff, going to punish Legendary for doing anything. There is a very, very elusive Doom Trobo, though, looking for an aggressive gank, but diving a Kayle, not going to work out quite as well as they'd want it to. Malphite in the mid lane, there's Zach too. Varus, can you do anything? Kenny, I am sorry, you are Kenny gone.
Yeah, no chance after that Stranglethorns came out. You might have a flash. I think you'd still get caught by it. The Stranglethorn AoE is literally quite massive, and that's going to be the second turret going the way now of EXERTUS. So EXERTUS saying, all right, we know what we want to do. That pause was a great strategy session, and now they're just bringing the pain. They've tied up the kills. They got themselves 2 towers, and they've taken the gold lead now over top of Complexity.
So this is the cool roaming. It's Billy Boss coming out. Even if he doesn't land his ultimate when it's not up, he can still just land a Seismic Shard. And what does that set up? Greed. freeing Greed to go ahead and hop in as Zac and do his thing. And that is a cool combo right there. It's essentially like you think about dive buddies. These are gank buddies. These are guys that will just go around together. If one of them lands any skill on the other guy, on whoever they're ganking, the other guy can follow up immediately and do his damage. And even if they don't have, let's say, the damage to pull it off, whoever they're ganking for at this point will have the output. Unless it's like a solo Zyra, maybe not Delight on his own. Kazaroon and Legendary up top lane though, they're just brawling up top. It's just a slugfest non-stop. They both have some sustain, and this might be the fight.
Yeah, Kazaroon's gonna go real low. Those Qs, man, you cannot just discount the cooldown reduction that is afforded to ZZ Legendary. He does have that ult ready to go as well, but I think he's just gonna hold on to it. We'll have to keep an eye on those hit points and a finger on the hotkey. But mid lane is where the action is really gonna be centered here for Complexity. Greed is gonna find Doom Trobo, but he's gonna walk the other way. That's alright, Trobo's gonna get off a few different auto attacks, but now the threat of him coming in from the side, that's gonna be the teleport mid. Billy Boss comes in. He does have that ultimate, but that was not going to be the combo. Everyone scatters immediately. Flash forward, forces out the flash there from Jack Smith. The Zyra combo will not land, and it does look like nothing will come of any of this.
Literally nothing happening. Summoners were burned, but it was 1-for-1. Actually, Root does land on Kenny. Pops the berry, trying to fight, but is exhausted, misses the ultimate. That's gotta sting as he does go down. Currently 0-3-1. They do get an ult on the Billy Boss though. Ultimate from Caitlyn does some damage. Doom Probe, but Billy Boss can't get anything done. Ultimate was used, not a lot accomplished though. And it's Malphite for Varus, and actually a good trade since Varus 0-3-1. He's actually on the death spree now, so he's not really worth any gold. Unfortunately, it does mean that Varus is not getting any kills, but he's still CSing well, and they got more gold out of it on the side of Complexity Academy.
Yeah, that was a dual engage. Off to the side, the Varus, and then the other side. Like, they almost got Greed out of it as well. He had to use a Desperation Slingshot just to get out of dodge, but it worked. Unfortunately, though, the gold will tip towards Complexity, as they are going to be able to grab that tower out of it. Possibly, too, because Ryze is still in the top lane, and he has a decent creep wave behind him, so that's going to tie up the towers. So a 1-for-1, but 2 towers going the way of Complexity. They definitely made the most of that opportunity.
Yeah, 5-for-5 score overall, but now look at the gold. It's essentially that 2-tower difference, 1,500 advantage right now for Complexity Academy. And EXERTUS there, I don't know, if they can keep that roaming gank that they had going on before, that would be awesome. But if Complexity Academy groups up, if it's constant 5v5s, you can't really gank into a 5v5. Doesn't really work that well. And both teams have so much initiation that I don't think anybody's confident to do anything too crazy.
Maybe Jackson has heard me. He has a Hex deck. And a Giant's Belt. So,
a brave soul indeed.
So much for that Zhonya start, but he probably has already actually finished up with the Seeker. Yeah, 15 out of 15. No need to see large from him, and no Zhonyas. So,
Yeah, that's a scary build, but he's going for the raw HP, and that's something you don't normally see. And that would be what makes Spellvamp worth it. Is actually a lot of damage goes towards Ryze. The ultimate does come out from Caitlyn. Legendary taken down quite low, but he will walk away.
I don't know where you are, but Kenny in the bottom lane is just getting absolutely dominated by these gank brothers. So, again, just extended. That's going to be the unstoppable force. That's going to be under the tower as well. Xanos now could be in trouble. Billy Boss, he's going to get popped up, but at this point, he doesn't seem to care. His hit point's not really changing that much. Kazaroon now going to come in with that Lich Bane, looking for the auto attack. Doesn't quite get it. So, again, like across the board, multiple fights happening at once. Fortunately, I only do have one camera, but Varus, 0-4, as you said, death spree. Not good. If your ADC at 20 minutes has no impact in the game, I fear a little bit for your team.
Still getting the farm, it can be worth it. Actually, Dragon now being looked at. They're going for it. Doom Trobo manning up. Does not get the steal. It does go to EXERTUS. Now Doom Trobo just in the pit. Zyra ultimate. Jaximus ultimate. Can he do anything? It's a 1v5. And there's a Kayle ultimate. Jaximus, I am so sorry, but you are going home empty-handed. You chose the door. And the door kicked you right back into the fountain.
We have voted on Survivor Island, and Kennen, you're dismissed. Yeah, he's out. 8-5. Dragon went the way of EXERTUS. So again, like the gold, every time we get one objective, somebody else gets the other, and they just keep going back and forth. I mean, we have dragons on both teams. We got 2 towers each. 8-5, almost even there on the kills, and the gold again is just staying neck and neck. So this is really going to come down to who's going to make a mistake in late game, who's going to get that extra death timer that is going to cost them a lot, and I'm not too sure. I can't call it at this point.
I might call Kazaroon going down right now though. Ryze looking for it, does on the Varus ultimate. He's in the brush though, but they can see him.
Yep, that's it.
He has ultimate. not available.
After you get that corruption shot, yeah, he used the invulnerability there at the end. Really well played there by Kenny. It's like, yeah, whatever, Kazarin can just walk away. He had the flash, it's good. Nope. Corruption shot at the end. Well played.
That was a flash burn too, and that's important because it's not just a kill. Now Kazarin's not going to have any mobility besides his heal, which is quite a bit actually, for a good 4 minutes. That's something that can very easily be punished, and I like seeing baits like that. Like, Kenny Yu didn't go straight for the ultimate right away, he didn't go straight for the fight right away. He just waited, let Kazarin waste what he wanted him to waste, and then that's when the punish happened. So though, it's only a 500 gold lead in favor of Complexity Academy. They're down kills, but they have a higher CS lead, I believe. And that's what keeps them a little bit farther ahead, but overall the game is very evenly matched. It's about who gets caught out where. It's about if Malphite can finish off Varus with his ultimate, which is awesome, but I mean, Kenny Yu he's got a kill now, he's getting a little bit more relevant, but you're right, his impact has been low this game, and it's weird to see that on Varus. Varus is a very high impact AD carry because of the ultimate.
Usually, yeah. I mean, Janna's tried her best. She's sitting at 0-0-3, just trying to keep Kenny up. I mean, Kenny does have himself the Blade of the Ruined King. The problem, however, is that Caitlyn has not only the Infinity Edge, but looking for that Zeal. So an Infinity Edge versus that Blade of the Ruined King, Infinity Edge probably going to be hitting harder. And at the rate it's going, 3-1-2 versus 1-4-1. Yeah, my money's on her.
Fight going on in the mid lane. Greed tries to get the initiate out, but can't quite land it. Let's bounce going off though. Ultimate coming out from Jackson. Flash forward. D-Light saved by the ultimate. Sonia's keeps Jackson alive for a bit, but he will be going down. The fight continues elsewhere. Billy Boss will be going down. The Jarvan poke hitting the butt by one of those spears. Got a sting, even if he's a giant rock. And it looks like the disengage will be going on as Doom Trobo. He's not done yet. The Janna shield reduces that damage as he realized if he'd kept chasing, Caitlyn just would have auto-attacked him to death with wall kiting.
Greed just going to slingshot himself out to safety. Could have been potentially caught had he been anybody else. But at the end of all things, 1-for-1, but the tower pressure still coming out here from Complexity. Every time they're able to trade off or these team fights happen, they have a recourse available to them. They're going to put up pressure in that mid. They're going to take a tower. They're going to take a dragon. And so far, it has kept them really in this game. They might be down in those kills, but they're up in gold. And the gold, whoever is getting more gold is just going back and forth at this point. And just such minuscule value. Greed's like, no, I see that coming. I'm going to slingshot after you, and love tap and run away. So
I have to say, like, when Zach slingshot earlier out of the bushes to get back to the tower, he actually could have died if he'd hit Ryze, and he would have accidentally started a fight. That mid turret now being looked at. I mean, everybody went back to heal. Jarvan was forced back. It is Xanos, and Xanos actually does quite a bit of damage because of his AP, but some decent pressure going out towards the tower. Now, what ultimates are available? Malphite ultimate isn't up, Zac ultimate isn't up. Nothing's really available for either side, and they're both AoE dependent. So I don't expect any major team fight to happen until Malphite at least gets his ultimate back up, which will be when everybody else gets their stuff back. So it's going to be, say, a passive moment while the fight is waiting to reset.
All good. 9-7, almost the 25-minute mark. Varus did head home. For Soik, the Phantom Dancer, he actually went for a static Shiv. We did actually finish up the Zeal now for Caitlyn. She's going to get a longsword on top of things with a dagger. And so, but yeah, we haven't really seen too much lifesteal coming out of here. She still has the Vampiric Scepter, but she's just going for the harder hitting actions at this point, which is working out. 3-1-2, 189, but she is down in CS compared to that Varus. But if you take a look at both of them, she is slightly ahead because of that CS difference. It's really kept Varus in it. Oh no, D-Light goes down absolutely quick. That's going to be the Stranglethorns, however, that leads into the double. Jackson is now going to be in the middle of that with the slicing. Finally throws out that Zhonya as Trobo comes in from behind, but Billy Boss is absolutely bossing it up. Kenny Yu up against the ganking brothers, as you said. I'm not sure they have enough damage to finish this off. It's going to be the double for Greed, as he finally does take off Varus, but now Trobo versus Greed. Do we have that cellular division? We do, but that's a tower. And at the end of all things, 4-for-4 exchange in that jungle. There's so many things that go wrong in the jungle.
What the hell happened? They just grouped up, blew all of their AoE. Delight did get his ultimate off, which was huge, and just everybody died. Everybody died except the jungler is a little bit too tanky. The tankiest members of the team, with Billy Boss building that more, I'd say, AP style of Malphite build, and that's kind of the problem both teams have. They're clearly very evenly matched in how they can output damage. Both teams have, I'd say, you have more tankiness on EXERTUS, but less damage. And over on Complexity Academy, they have less damage, or more damage, but less tankiness, and it kind of traded perfectly. So both teams very even. There is a low Jarvan, so they can try to apply pressure now that Doom Trobo has to go back to base, but it looks like the lanes are pushing in. Baron not really a safe option by any measure, so it looks like it's going to be a fairly passive moment again until those ultimates come back up. But what the hell? Like, did you see what happened? I did not see what happened, except like I'd watched the sides of the screen to see who died.
Yeah, they got caught in the jungle, and jungle without vision in close quarters, and both teams pouring on the AoE. It's like everyone was just standing in a Karthus defile after he had died. They can't really do too much about it because they're just stuck there, but at the same time everybody died on both teams because they couldn't withstand that prolonged damage. And as you saw, I mean, Varus, he really tried. He got a triple out of that. I mean, he went 0-4 to 3-5 in one fight. So you're talking about like low impact. He kind of came out ahead on that one, and I gotta say, it's a lot of that lifesteal coming into play.
Oh, fight going, breaking out though. Billy Boss taking a lot of damage. Greed in the front though. The ultimate from Kayle does keep him alive. A great Zyra ultimate knocks up 4. Jackson is going forward, trying to play the DPS as he can. Castle Rune does go down. Greed gonna be forced to split in a second. The blobs are out. Will they focus him or go for the chase? It looks like, well, Zach, you had a good run, but you will be going down. As that actually is his first death of the game, and that was just a brutal fight. A great ultimate from IKNU. I mean, he missed an ultimate earlier while he was caught out. That completely made up for it. As now Baron is a viable option. No Malphite ult, no Caitlyn ult, no Zyra. No one has anything. And right now I'd say just because of Varus and his build, he will do more. And he can also kill Baron relatively quickly.
Well, he's going to get caught up there by D-Light, but as you can see, Baron is going down extremely fast. We do got a teleport ready for Billy Boss. No wards to go to it. As you said, no ultimate. He doesn't have, you know, any kind of tankiness factor to kind of survive a 5-on-1 engage. So that's going to be not only the kills, but the Baron tied up kills now for Complexity Academy and a 2,000 gold lead, the highest we've seen in this game. Either way, again, in the jungle, without vision, AoE reigns supreme, and it's really just both teams just pouring it on top of each other.
So, like, what I thought was going to happen with Swinging Salt's build, and I understand why he didn't go for lifesteal early on, if he was being focused down where he needed to actually sustain himself, he was probably already dead. And it makes sense. If Kennen's hitting you, he probably can't kill you on his own at this point in the game. You would need something like Ryze to back him up. And it made sense for Swinging Salt to not go for the lifesteal build. But now that these fights have gotten very, very strained, where everybody's kind of in the AoE, the lack of lifesteal is forcing Caitlyn out of these fights a little bit earlier, and I'd say Varus' early damage potential with his, God, what do they call it, the Torment stacks? The Blighted Quiver stacks, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Those Blighted Quiver stacks are applying quite a bit of damage, and it's just, he's dealing more AoE faster than Caitlyn can. That's one of the big detriments for this fight. And actually, eventually damage outscales defense and how you buy it. And that's also really, really factoring in favor of Complexity Academy. Because damage is going up right now, and the defense is coming out there a little bit for EXERTUS, but they just don't have enough.
And that seems to be the story of the last two fights, because we have seen Complexity not only trade out evenly, but they also grab themselves Dragons, and they grab themselves, you know, that quick Baron after their favorable fight after that. So something here is starting to click, and Kenny Yu going from 0-4 to 3-5 has himself the Static Shiv, which is AoE, the Blighted Quivers and the Blighted Ground and AoE, the Corrupted Shot AoE. It's just, yeah, I'll go with your theory against Caitlyn any day. Yeah, well put.
Caitlyn's good, but the way the fights are working out, they need more. They need just more outright damage. Draven could have worked right now, but just Caitlyn is... She does good single target damage, but these are not single target fights.
Now coming up under the tower, we might see a bit more of a shine here. If we can keep Caitlyn in the back, out of everything, there's a good chance that her attack speed plus plus everything else. Wow, ZZ Legendary not going to be taking any of that, but that was his shield from his Seraph's Embrace. Now they're going to catch out Kazarun, and unfortunate for them, I think they thought that they could actually burst down Legendary and keep him out of the fight, but unfortunately, just like we've seen in the last game, it does not work. Cataclysm going in, forcing out the flash hit from the Billy Boss. Will he turn around for an unstoppable? Either way, that turret is dead and dusted there in the bot, and now it's going to be a 5-on-4 against a team with Baron.
They're just going to go for the tower. They're going to have to initiate. Now, actually, Greed is caught out. He's hit by the Varus ultimate. Can't get out of there, though. Actually, Jackson is chasing it down. does pick up the kill. Passive not available quite yet. Exhaust is used. Jack Smith will be zone-using at the last second. Can they tank the turrets for him? He does stay alive. Malphite initiate will take him down though, but guess what? Malphite for Kennen. Billy Boss goes down as a turret, now being attacked. Actually already taken down. They're going to take the inhibitor. I mean, it was a 1-for-1 in the end, but, or actually 2-for-1, I believe. And it's the power of their higher damage team comp right now. Greed, he's tanky as hell. It took him a long time for him to go down in that fight. But it doesn't matter if they can't do anything with that. It doesn't matter if he's not able to just sit there and deal damage. And his damage right now is just not relevant.
Kazarun coming back. Maybe thought he could take on Kenny, but Legendary's there, and it would be a real shame if he came up just to go straight back down. Because again, like that would just be it's just like rocking the boat. You don't have that footing that you need in order for this late game. And again, like everything was really dead even up until these last few fights. So it does look like Complexity Academy, you know, their picks, their builds have been proving them extremely useful here at the 30-minute mark. And if you look at Kenny has a red pot.
It's not a bad purchase. A little bit of extra HP for these fights, and when you first look at the teams, you just see lots of AoE on both sides. And you can see like, well, this character will have more impact here, this character will have more impact then. And it's hard to really tell how it would work out. I mean, there was more early advantage for Complexity Academy with First Blood, but overall, it was even. No one could really do anything. The late game is really coming into effect now as characters like Kennen. Like Kennen was Zhonya's and Ryze, and even that revolver, the unexpected revolver, it's doing a lot of damage. It scales ridiculously well. And Malphite can get some good burst off, but it's not enough.
Now, fun times. Janna has no boots.
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore, Janna building boots. It's not popular anymore.
No. Her global aura is giving her up to 409 move speed. Now, she is
and Zephyr,
real deep.
And Zephyr.
Oh yeah, and Zep, yeah. But her runes in masteries, it's 25 deep in utilities, so she's getting a lot of extra movement speed out of that as well. You don't need boots with a Janna. 409 move speed without boots is insane.
He maxed out Zephyr first for the AP harass. Actually, Zach going in for the fight though. Kenny flashes over a wall, not taking too much damage. Doom Trouble, actually Deximus now just going for the forward engagement. Everybody kind of every which way as there is a Jarvan ultimate, keeping everybody in place. But Billy Boss slams that Xanos out of the sky. It's now 2-for-0 as Zach is forced to split, but he's staying alive. And Kazarun does go down. It looks like a 3-for-1, and Billy Boss going to be rooted at the very last second. Right, that was a hell of engage. If you look over at Complexity Academy, I don't know, it seems like they were both trying to do different things.
It was a little bit too spread out. There was 2 focal points. Greed actually initiated over here by the dead Janna, but there was a Varus over here that had 2 team members there. So they're fighting over here. We had the engage going on over there. Unfortunately, Complexity, they just split, but Billy Boss, he threw down that Unstoppable Force. We had the Greed bounce in there. We had the Stranglethorns as well, just locking up 2 to 3 members of the Complexity just off to the side. And that was able, they took a lot of damage, and EXERTUS was just able to start winning that fight. As you saw at the end there, Kenny Yu going one-on-one against Kazarun. Sure, he was able to trade it out, but he did go down, and then all of a sudden, Kenny Yu, all that AD just out of the picture, you just left with your tankiness, and well, you had to retreat out of that.
What's interesting is Billy Boss holding his ultimate. I love that decision, and he used it to finish off Xanos. Xanos will just get eliminated by him at this point, but it's a really smart play for him to hold the ultimate for an important moment, because Greed should get the initial initiation off. If there's a chance where they're all grouped up together, that's fine. Go in, go crazy. But if you want to wait for that important target, and in this case, killing Xanos is a huge deal. His ultimate will heal about 600 HP over the course of 4 seconds to everybody around him. And that is enough to, say, eliminate Malphite's burst. Like, that's Malphite's ultimate gone with that ultimate challenge from Xanos. And if he can hold the ultimate, save it for the right target, doesn't have to be Xanos. It can be Kenny. It can be, well, actually probably going to be Kenny or Xanos because they're the squishier targets. But if you can save it for the right person, it'll be huge. I'm liking this style of play. We know that this game isn't over yet. It's a 6,000 gold advantage for Complexity Academy, but they just lost the fight. And if EXERTUS can play these team fights well, they can definitely win. Even if it looks like they've been getting trounced, they can trounce right back.
Yeah, we've definitely proven to each other here in terms of the teams that they can win a lot of the team fights. But 17-17, we're still up in terms of the CS, in terms of the global gold. I mean, we got several Dragons of Baron under the belt there of Complexity Academy. But the problem is now that EXERTUS is kind of committing here to this Baron dance, their bottom lane's about to push in, and that's something that they're going to have to keep an eye on. But at the same time, if we don't get disengaged, which we are, it might have gone the way of Complexity Academy. But there's all the ults, the Stranglethorn's going out, knocks up 3 of them, and once again, Complexity Academy is just split over this entire battleground. We got Doom Trobo back here looking for the kill on top of Billy Boss. Kazaroon with the ultimate. D-Light there in the back as well, but Janna's the one to take down Kazaroon. Legendary is going to drop. He trades out. Jaxmus is running for his life, but Doom Trobo comes in, but it looks like that split was actually very advantageous to Complexity. They avoided a lot of the stack-up damage from EXERTUS, and they're able to ace.
Is that game? That could be game right there. Doom Trobo Xanos looking for that bot lane. Look at that big honking creep wave. I mean, they already have creeps at the tower. The inhibitor just respawned. It's gonna go down, I'd say, in 1 or 2 seconds of pressure. They're going straight through that mid tower. That could be game right now. It's gonna come down to good auto attacks coming out from Complexity Academy, and whether or not there's enough time on those death timers.
Let's see.
It's looking dangerous though.
10 seconds
down
for D-Light. 12 for Kazaroon. Yeah, I'm not sure they can actually come back out of that.
That was a great fight from Complexity Academy. They were both spread out, and that's scary. That's where it gets weird. But that's where Varus' advantage now in CS and in kills. That's where the gold lead really kicked in right there. It was a spread out fight, lots of 1v1s, everybody all over the witch place. You know, Billy Boss being taken down by Kennen at some weird angle, and stuff like that is great when you have a lead. When you have more 1v1 potential because you've already earned your lead, you can just kind of nullify the fact that the other guys, yeah, they have AoE too, but if you're both spread out, you'll win the fight.
Oh man, so what a spectacular finish there to game number 4, EXERTUS and Complexity Academy. Complexity is going to be able to take that one home with that last team fight. So that being said, game number 4 done. We still have one more coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I know, it's just like all this esports. You can't handle all this esports. But coming up next, Reality Gaming up against Denial Esports. I'm going to throw up the score screen here for you. Say a word from our sponsors, get into the next game, and we're going to be ready to go to close everything out. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.